Thank you so much for having me. And I've sat through the past 1 hour of conversations, and we heard all the testimonies that people have had to share. And I want to say something. It's really encouraging to see a lot of young people having passion for learning, and all the testimonies that people have shared has really encouraged me as a person. And so, first, let me say congratulations that you were able to finish the ELPC program. It matters more than you think, because it's always, very easy to start something and not complete it, but you were able to start and finish. It's always beyond the certificate. It's about the transformation that happens in your mind. And, in a season where it is always easier to complain than to build, right? You all have chosen to invest in yourself. And I heard when Moses was talking and giving his own testimony, and he shared about doing the hard things. I will add a little bit to that, so doing the hard things first. But you all have taken step in doing the hard things by showing up for 4 to 5 weeks, to really empower yourself. And I would say, as someone that has learned that over the past 25 years of my life, doing the hard things is what set people apart from being an ordinary person. And so if you always choose to go the easy way route, the consequences are always different. And so spending time always making the hard choices has been one thing that I will say has shaped my trajectory from, going to University of Lagos, traveling to France on several scholarships, and coming to the United States for my PhD. There was something that has always stayed with me, and as I reflect on where we are as a country, Nigeria, and where the young people are, it says this. It says, good times create weak people, and weak people create bad times. Bad times create strong people, and strong people create great or good times. Knowing where we are in Nigeria today, you all will acknowledge or agree with me that we're in a tough season, and the opportunities are not as great as they were before. It feels scarce, but you know it better than I do because you live it every day. But I wanted to just bring you a message of hope, and know that you all are being prepared. And as you learn about doing the hard things, you're being prepared to shape the strong or better tomorrow for Nigeria. You're equipping yourself with the tools that is necessary, because it is forging you. It's not, it is a tough season, but it is forging you to being better. And I will talk about, from my own experience, those things that will make you better. And some of those is around building capacity for yourself. And what you're doing right now, you're building capacity to be able to navigate the challenges and navigate the environment that you are in. And most importantly, build a better tomorrow for yourself. I'll talk a little bit also about building character, because that matters more. It is character that helps you make the decision to do the hard things when you're always faced with multiple choice of easy route. And then the last thing I will want to harp on is building clarity. A lot of people focus on just education, but more importantly, it's the direction, the clarity in the direction that you're going that matters too. But before I go into all of those, what I call the 3 C's, I want to talk about, given the theme of this, address is unboxed. So I want to talk about 2 types of boxes. As I reflect about what to say, I went through the past 16 years of my life, because I was exactly where you are right now. 16 years ago, I wrapped up my undergraduate degree at the University of Lagos, and I was trying to navigate my life. And so I wanted to, as I reflect, I realized that there were 2 types of boxes that has impacted me, whether knowingly or unknowingly. And I was fortunate to break out of those boxes. And so I wanted to talk about how you all can also break out of those boxes. But before that, let me even describe what those boxes are, so you know how to break out of them. The first box is the box that you didn't create. They are created for you by the people that you love, your family, your friends, your environment. The box is all about the expectation that people have, whether what course you have to study in school, or the type of job you have to get when you graduate. I personally got that lot of boxes. So when I finished my undergraduate degree at University of Lagos, everyone was asking what's next. People told me it was time to get a job. I had a fiancée at that point, I'll say girlfriend, and all she wanted was, you got to get a job, find stability. But I knew what I wanted. I knew it was more. I was testing for the understanding of the technology behind, solar, renewable energy. I'd studied electrical electronics engineering at the University of Lagos. And so I knew that the next step for me was beyond Nigeria. It was easier for me because I'd had offers to work in an oil and gas company, Schlumberger, Shell. I was in the final rounds of ExxonMobil, and these are great jobs, right? At that point, I just finished as the best graduating student in my school, and so I had the opportunity, but I had to make the hard choice, knowing what I wanted for myself, to apply abroad. Apply to US, UK, Canada, and France. I ended up choosing France out of all the options that I had. I remember my mom took me to my pastor, and it was like, this guy is crazy. He had a US visa, and he ended up going to France. He's saying he's going to France instead. So they thought something was wrong with me. But I knew what I was doing. I knew they were creating a box for me, a box where, there was a path that everyone followed. People ahead of me had followed. But I knew that I wanted to chart a course for my own life. I knew I had clarity in terms of God's purpose for my life, and I wanted to go through with that. I would say I ended up going to France, spent 1 year at École Polytechnique. It's the foremost university in France. So if you think about Laplace, Fourier, some of those great scientists, or Marie Curie, they were from that university. I was able to experience Europe. I was able to learn a new language. I never spoke French. When I went there, the classes were in French. I challenged myself. It opened up my worldview. But that opened up opportunities for me to go to Oak Ridge National Lab and ultimately DCG. When I see people today, and I engage with some of my clients. Some of them are French. We speak French. We connect. We build relationship based on that. If I had not taken that route, my life would have been different. I'm not saying do not listen to your friends, your family, your parents, your spouse, but be clear in terms of, the direction that you want for your life, and be bold to make those tough decisions, right? The second type of box is, this one is a little bit difficult because it's the box that you create for yourself. It's hard to see this box. The other one, you get it from the outside. This is from within. There's the box of the voice that you hear every day, the box that you're not enough, the box that, challenge you to say, hey, why are you trying to go this route? You know you will never get it. It's a voice of doubt. It's a voice of fear. It's a voice that tells you that you're not enough. And I have experienced that consistently. I remember when I got into my PhD at Oak Ridge, University of Tennessee, it was rooms filled with people from India, China, people that had resumes of having worked in research labs since they were in year one in the university. And they showed up with resume of research portfolios. I went to University of Lagos. We didn't have fantastic research opportunity. Well, we did labs, right? You know how you dub your lab and, you just take readings, and that was what we did. But at this stage, it was more doing research at the world stage. And so I was always telling myself, I'm not enough. Or is it now that I get the opportunity to advise CEOs of Fortune 500 companies? I sit in management meetings and board meetings of billions of dollar companies. I had last month one of the CEO of a $5 billion company say, we need to have a breakfast. We ended up spending 2 hours together talking about his business. But every time I'm in those rooms, it's always hard because something comes up in my mind and say, hey, this guy, you're not enough. You came from somewhere in E4 in Ogun State. That was where I grew up. And I will always say, hey, these people will figure you out. They will know that you're not meant to be at this level. But I always challenge that voice, because the voice always tries to pull you down. It's an imposter syndrome. But I want you to recognize that, it's a voice of reason, which is fair, but you don't have to listen to that voice. Yes, I did my research at the lab. I ended up being the first person that discovered a pentagonal semiconductor material. And for some of you that do not know what a semiconductor material is, it is what goes into your phone, your electronics, right? The first pentagonal material in the world was discovered by me in that lab, right? Today, I continue to support CEOs, executives of businesses, despite the fact that, I came from an humble background. And so these boxes, you all will find it every day in your life, and will challenge you to do not take that step. Do not dream bigger. Silence those voices, right? And it is dangerous because it will always put you down. So apply to those jobs, start that business, dream bigger, travel out of the country, expand your worldview. And so I just wanted to let you know that those two boxes exist. There's no way you can do without them. But the awareness that that they exist is important. But you need to then figure out, how do you address those? And so that takes me back to the tools that I've used in my life to breaking out of those two boxes. Three things. One, as I mentioned earlier, it's about capacity. The second one is around building your character. And then the third one is around clarity. I talked about capacity a little bit, which is what you all are doing right now. You're building your resume. You're building your worldview. Though life is not going to give you what you deserve. It is going to give you only what you are ready for. And so if you want something bigger than where you are right now, you have to build the capacity for that level. When I started at BCG, I was a consultant and I had the aspiration to be a partner. I was always promoted every 2 years. But one thing that I learned going through cycles of promotion is no one is going to give me a promotion until I'm already operating at the next level. And so if I want to be a manager, I was already operating as a manager before they gave me the promotion or the title. And so there are several ways to build capacity, right? Like I said, even taking this course was you taking a leap of faith and trusting yourself and investing in yourself to build capacity for your future. It is the time that you spent to study instead of scrolling through social media. Those compound over time. I remember my days in University of Lagos. I told myself I was going to study 20 hours a day. And so I will always go to bed between 8 p.m. and 12 midnight. I wake up 12 midnight, I'm already in the reading room of Jaja, if there's anyone that isn't from University of Lagos. I'll study till like 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, go for my prayers, and then I'm in class at 6 o'clock in the morning. While people are discussing, before a lecturer comes in, discussing soccer and like Chelsea and Barcelona, I was spending time researching or rereading materials. Those 10 minutes, those 20 minutes, they compound severely over time. I'm not saying only just study. I'm talking about how do you build your own capacity, and it is different for everyone. When I joined BCG, it's a management consulting firm. You're supporting businesses. I did not have a business degree. I'm an engineer at the core, right? So I have to study and understand what 10Q is or a financial statement is. I have to study to understand all the business terminology. No one would do that for me, but I had to invest and build that capacity for myself. And I still do today, right? Because I have my own aspiration of what I want to become in the future. And then for you, it will be the certification that you want to apply for. It will be, the master's degree that I think you should explore. But capacity is always very important for you to get to the next level and to break any boxes that you will have ahead of you. The second one is around character. And this doesn't get mentioned enough. And it is character that will make you do the hard things, especially in an environment where people are looking for the easy way route. I was talking to a friend of mine, and they told me about how Yahoo is so rampant in Nigeria, and it is because people see that as an alternative, as an easy alternative, versus really building the core foundation of what will make them successful. So character shows up in the decisions that you made, in your resilience in the face of adversity, in the consistency that you apply in your daily routines and habit. It is what you do when no one is watching you. There was no one that was there at Unilag when I would wake up 12 o'clock in the morning and study. I wasn't looking for flowers for anyone. I was internally building my own capacity So I want you, because character is what is going to make or mar you. If you achieve your dreams and you've not built the character of your mind, right? When you get to the top, it throws you out. And what you do with the small things matters, right? How do you handle the opportunity when they give you $1 million? How are you able to handle that? It will determine how you're able to handle $1 billion. So I want you to, this is one thing that you will have to do to define your own values and make a decision not to go against those values. And if there are opportunities that compromise those values, you say no to them. It's perfect. And so that, for me, I've consistently found out that the things that you do when no one is there, how you treat others, it's part of your value system. And so I take that extremely seriously, even more than building my capacity. And then the last one, which I want to dwell on a little bit, is around finding your clarity. Clarity is very important because it is the compass for your life. And as a coach right now, I will tell you, when I talk to people, even senior leaders in organizations, many of them don't even know where they're going. They know they have a job, they want to, continue to advance, but they don't have clarity in terms of the direction. If you don't know where you're going, anywhere you get to might look like it. Clarity is finding yourself, your identity, who you are as a person. It is finding your edge. I call it edge because that is something that no one else but you have the capacity or the talent to do. And it's about finding your purpose, your vision, what you're good at. This is important because, yes, you go to school to study a course, but that course does not necessarily translate to your edge. I went to school to study electrical electronics engineering, did my master's in renewable energy, did my PhD in semiconductors. I've worked in the oil and gas company in Nigeria, I've worked in tech, but I know that my edge was not in engineering. I was not built to be an engineer. I ventured into engineering when I was in SS1 because I just loved science. I had passion for science, but at my core, I was always very interested in how business makes money. I started my first business when I was 9, selling cookies to folks in my compound. And so I sat down when I was wrapping up my PhD to say, well, who am I? Where am I going? What's my competitive advantage in a world where there are a lot of me? There are a lot of engineers. There are a lot of business people. And I realized that my edge was around coaching, advisory, and that was why I decided to join BCG. And so I want you to take some time for yourself. You've wrapped up this program. Amazing. I want you to spend some time to reflect on who you are as a person. What are your own competitive advantage in a world where AI can now do everything? What do you bring to the table? Where are you going? Where do you think you want to be in the next 5-10 years? And what's God's purpose and vision for yourself? Because that is what will help you, one, maintain your character and continue to give you a momentum to build your capacity. When I left Nigeria 16 years ago, I had zero money with me, but I had unlimited ambition. I had clarity in terms of where I was going. And in a world where I was getting a lot of noise about what I should do and where I should go, that clarity helped me to navigate my life. And it is helping me even today to navigate my life. As someone that has gotten to the pinnacle of consulting, and the next thing is to continue to make money and advising clients, I said to myself, I know it's almost a season for me to move to the next phase and transition to having my own business, because that's all what I did when I was 9 years old. And people think I'm stupid to leave a high-paying job for something that is uncertain. But I'm very sure if I look back in 5 years' time, I will be making the best decision of my life, because I have that very clear, the edge, the purpose, and the vision. And so I want to leave you with some few thoughts. You're living in a hard season, but you're not defined by the season. You are defined by what you do inside of the season. So the character, the capacity, and the clarity that you're developing will help you. And what will you do with what you have right now determines everything that comes next. Not what you will have someday, not what else someone else will have. It's what you have. And we all have something in our hands, whether you like it or not. And lastly, time is limited. You think you have all the time in the world? No. Time flies. Now I have gray hairs. It's insane because I still look at my picture 5-10 years ago. But time goes by fast. Not in any scary way, but in a way that helps you clarify the direction and the speed with which you're moving. I want you to know you don't have forever to figure this out. But the good news is you don't need forever. What you need is to start. And by finishing this program, you've already started. And now is the time to spend the time to get a little bit more clear in terms of the direction and understanding who you are within, because that is what will make you successful as you navigate the next few years of your life. So my encouragement to you is spend that time in the silence of your voice when no one is there. For some people might be waking up very late in the morning before the hustle and bustle of Lagos or Niger life, to really identify who you are. Identify your edge, identify your value, your vision, identify your purpose, and be unapologetically yourself. And do not be boxed up. Do not be boxed up by the expectation of your family or friends. Do not be limited by the doubts that you have for yourself, and go live your dream. Congratulations again. I'm very proud of you for doing this. So I encourage you to go build something, go build a life that the world has not seen yet, and that one that you will be proud of yourself. Thank you.